Yeah.
I'm home, it's my time, give me room, let me shine. I'm so high off alive, all my dreams came alive. My reflection is me, and I like what I see. Give me room, let me shine, let me shine.
Welcome to Radiant Voices, where creators and visionaries are sharing their stories. I'm your host, Amber Turner. Thank you so much for taking a moment out of your day to be here with me today. We all live busy lives, and I am so grateful you are spending it with me right now. So for the launch of Radiant Voices, I wanted to share a little bit about me, and so you all can get to know me a little bit more and what our future shows will be about. So we don't have a guest for today's show. It's just me and you. I hope that's okay with you. Okay, good. The goal with Radiant Voices is to provide a non-judgmental platform for people to share things that provide meaning to them. I want listeners to feel understood, gain insight, and find value in information shared that they can utilize in their own lives, myself included. So, a little bit about me. I grew up in Georgia in a small town called Warner Robins. You wouldn't think I grew up in Warner Robins, Georgia, from the way that I just said that. But my dad is retired Air Force, and so we moved around quite a bit when I was younger. But I call Warner Robins home because that's where I spent most of my childhood. And now I live in Colorado with my family, but I tell you, a lot has happened in between there. My life has been filled with a lot of victories and struggles, and hindsight is always 2020. But even looking back, I am grateful for everything, as I know it's helped me evolve into the person I am today. So as a child, I always dreamed of being a businesswoman. Like when other people were playing with dolls or dreaming about the wedding they would have or their future husband, I was, calculating how much money I was going to make. I had a briefcase and a little toy cell phone, and I was playing businesswoman, and that's what I loved. I've always dreamed about having my own business, and that's what I'm passionate about. So I always knew as a little girl that I would own my own business, but I also wanted to make a difference in the world. So during my childhood and teen years, I was also a victim of being bullied, which resulted in, self-confidence issues and anxiety for me. And many years I felt imprisoned by my own mind and thoughts. And it kind of stifled my dreams, to be honest. It kind of resulted in me losing sight of my dream of being a businesswoman and having my own business. So I suffered from depression for many years in my adolescent years, and again during pregnancy, during the pregnancy of my first child. And so that came back when I was pregnant with my daughter. But after graduating college, I spent my early career working for the federal government. And to be honest, I struggled. I struggled to find my footing. It did not feel right. Even though I had a great job, I was working for the federal government. It was secure. I was making really great money. It always felt as if my calling was to help people in another way. Because even though it wasn't for me, I feel like that job is helpful in a way where people help the warfighter and support the warfighter and things like that. It just was not my calling. And I just knew that it wasn't for me. But because I had a husband in the military, we actually received orders to move, which was for me, it was great news because I never felt like I belong there. I felt like there was something else out there for me. And so when we received orders to move, I felt like it was a great interruption of the monotony that had become my life, because I was starting to get comfortable. I mean, I think if that had not come, then I probably would be doing the same thing, and that's not what I saw for my life. So it was a great interruption for me. But little did I know that move would present a lot more challenges that would test my spirit. And boy, was I tested. And after moving, we became stationed to a small town in New York, upstate New York, and there was a lack of diversity, to say the least. A lack of diversity and understanding. And so for many years, we endured discrimination and hate. And it was tough. I mean, it was really, really tough. I had never in my life experienced that kind of treatment. And so it was really, really, really challenging to navigate life through that. And even with my children, it was very tough to explain to them those kind of actions by others, and how, honestly, I didn't really too much understand it myself. So it was hard for me as a mother to explain that to my kids. But, we made it through. It was what it was. And for me, it was something that I felt like I needed to go through to make me the person that I am. I felt very isolated and alone. And, hindsight, I know that I was never alone. But I feel like I became stronger for it. And during that time, I made many attempts to start my own business. I explored so many different options, and in my exploration, I failed a lot. Just pretty much, I failed a lot, which I guess you could call it failing. I don't look at it as failing. I kind of look at it as learning. I learned what works for me and what doesn't work for me, what my strengths are and what are my weaknesses, what I like to do and what I don't like to do. But I'm so grateful that I had the opportunity to explore, because I know that many people don't have that opportunity to explore things and have that freedom to just find what drives them and what their passions are. And so even though it was really challenging, I felt isolated, my family was going through a lot, I'm so grateful for everything that we went through. I feel like it's made us stronger. It's made me stronger. But eventually we came to a point where my husband, he actually transitioned out of the military. And so we were left with the decision to figure out what we were going to do with the rest of our lives. And we needed to figure out where to live, what to do, and what the rest of our lives look like. And that was definitely a challenge that we had to go through. And so with the transition out of the military, we did decide to move to Colorado. Because of a Google search. We Google searched Colorado, and it seemed like it was a good place to live. And so we took a step out on faith and moved out to Colorado. But when we moved to Colorado, we knew absolutely no one. We had no jobs. We had not a place to live. And it was the first few months was pretty tough as well. So we weren't out of that season as of yet, but eventually we did get on our feet. My husband did find employment. We did find a home, and we did find we did establish ourselves once again, which was right on time because we were at the end of our, well, at least I was at the end of my sanity. But even I look back at it, I'm like, man, that was not so bad. But in the midst of it, it felt like it was so challenging. But I look and I'm so grateful for that because, and again, I felt like looking back, always when you look back at things, I'm like, man, I've grown and I'm so much stronger for the things that I've gone through. So through establishing ourselves, we did battle bouts of financial drought and other derailments, but I continued to strive towards my self actualization. And now I'm a proud owner of Polish at Home and Cut and Shaved at Home, which are my businesses. They're grooming on site services for men and women, which I'm so proud of and so passionate about. And I love what I do, and I strive to inspire my team to be their best selves. And that's the biggest goal for myself, is to empower them and to have them live their purpose. And I know the value in that. So I love that. I'm moving towards my dreams and moving towards my purpose. And that's kind of what I really want for everyone, and everyone that's listening, is that, you'll probably go through a lot of challenges and struggles, but on the other side is that victory that you are seeking. And you'll look back at these challenges and struggles, being grateful and having learned and grown from it. And I'm a living testament of that. Many people before us, our ancestors, are living testaments of that. It's how life rolls, as they say. We all go through seasons, and the beautiful thing about a season is that it changes. And then you go into another season that can be that you can be so grateful for. I'm also I'm also the founder of Making a Difference Dinner, where I organize benefit dinners to support certain charities and causes in this community. So I love that too, and I've learned all of these skills from my time being in isolation in upstate New York, where I was able to learn different skills and attributes to establish these businesses. And I'm very grateful for Making a Difference Dinner because I know the value in supporting your community and serving your community and serving others. My daughter, after years of evaluations, she's in the fourth grade. We just found out she has autism, and I know the challenges that parents face with that diagnosis, and honestly, for me, it was a relief to get that diagnosis because we struggled for many years in school and dealing with the administration and things like that, trying to get the best possible schooling and resources for our daughter, but without a diagnosis, without something to kind of lend to getting those resources, it was challenging. But when we got the diagnosis, okay, so now we have a way forward. And so this year's benefit dinner for Making a Difference Dinner is to support autism. I'm excited. We haven't done this year's dinner, but It's coming up soon, and I'm also excited to start planning next year's benefit dinner to benefit a different cause or a different charity in this community. It's so necessary because it helps, like, serving others is just what life is about, whether it's through your business or serving your family or whatever the case is. Serving is just what I feel like we're made for, in whatever capacity it's in. I feel like we're put on this earth to serve in some sort of way, whether you're a barber or a nail technician or a bus driver, or you work at a restaurant. You're like, serving others is just what we're made to do. And so, yeah, and that's a little bit about me. I know I've kind of went on, but my hope with this podcast is for you to gain a lot of information, gain insight, find value that you can utilize in your everyday life, but also having that connection with someone. And I feel like sharing someone's story, like I just shared my story, it's so necessary for you to feel connected with me, to better understand me, and to know where I'm coming from with my perspective. And so Radiant Voices is something that I'm very, very passionate about. I feel like a lot of people need to have that understanding in their life. And so that's what Radiant Voices is about. So what makes a radiant voice? So in my opinion, a radiant voice is someone that speaks their truth, that speaks authentically true to themselves, and can be strong in that. Because with the way that our society is being judged and having so many judgments thrown at us, it's hard to speak our true selves and be authentic and be comfortable in that. And I think that's what a radiant voice is that people, you shine your light through your voice, and it's your true authentic self. So that's my opinion of a radiant voice. However, I would love to know what your opinion is of a radiant voice. Leave your comments below and share what your thoughts are on a radiant voice. So next week on the show, I'm really excited. We have Hannah Hamblin, who believes that with a vision in your mind and a massive action, you can accomplish anything. Being blind has never stopped her, so she wants to share her message that all things are possible. And I'm so excited to chat with her and learn more about her. And I really feel like we can really gain some insight from her. And I can't wait to hear her radiant voice. So that's next week on the show. But I do thank you for joining me on today's show. Like I said, this is the launch of Radiant Voices. And for me, I just wanted to share a little bit about who I am, what Radiant Voices is, and what I feel you can gain from listening to Radiant Voices. Definitely check us out on Facebook. You can find us on Facebook at Radiant Voices. We're also on Instagram at Radiant Voices _the show. And we're also on YouTube at Radiant Voices. So the show, I'm pretty sure, the show. I do thank you for joining me today. It's been a pleasure. I hope to check you next week with our guest, Hannah Hamblin, life, business, and spiritual coach. And till next time, let your light shine. Peace.
Yeah. Come home, it's my time, give me room, let me shine. I'm so high off alive, all my dreams came alive. My reflection is me, and I like what I see. Give me room, let me shine, let me shine.